Hello everyone, my name is Jeremy Walsh. I'm the Director of Support for BNI Connect in North America and South America. I also help with the rest of the team, helping the rest of the world with support as well over in Europe and Asia. Today's presentation is the BNI Connect webinar for updating your member profile. So we're going to go through all the different steps to make sure that your member profile is up to date, show you where to make some changes, show you how those changes are reflected in various places within BNI Connect, both on the inside as well as on the public side of BNI Connect. Now this webinar is being recorded and will be made available at a later time once we can get it uploaded. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand by using the software, and I would be happy to unmute you so you can ask your question, or of course you can always type your question in as well. As we're going along, if it pertains to what we're talking about, I'll answer it right away. Otherwise, we'll set some time aside towards the end of the webinar to answer any questions. This webinar should last about 45 minutes or so, depending on how many questions we get. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right in. Once you've logged into BNI Connect, the very first place that you want to go, if you haven't done so already, is to make sure that you update your BNI profile. Bunch of different reasons for doing that. First of which is just, this is your VCP, your visibility, your credibility, which will lead towards profitability. People are using the system both within BNI to connect with members around the world, but people outside of BNI are also using this to find your products and services. Let me show you a quick example of that and the biggest why we want to be doing this. Little story, a couple of days ago, into my office walked a client of mine, and he was looking for a bookkeeper, really just somebody to give his in-house bookkeeper a couple of lessons on how to do certain things within QuickBooks. I said, great, you know what, I have somebody in my chapter that does that. So he's standing here in my office looking over my shoulder, and what I did was I went to our public website, our www.bniri website. One thing you may or may not know is that all of the chapters and all of the regions around the world, everybody has a page out there in the public. It's Google searchable. It's out there on the internet for everybody in the world to see. So I just went to find a member, and I put the member's last name in, and his name happens to be Glenn Zabolis, and I hit find. And what I came up with was this. Now, unfortunately, what I really wanted to do was actually print this page out, hand it to him, and let him know, by the way, this is the person that's going to be giving you a call. Here's what he can help you with. But what I got instead was kind of not a whole lot of information. On the other hand, I'm just going to look up my own profile here. If we go to my profile on the site, you can see that it has my phone number, my address. It lets the person know who I'm going to be, what I look like, who's going to be giving them a call, and some other information about my business. So it's a real credibility booster. It gets you up that referral curve, that confidence curve a lot faster by having this information filled out. Now the place to get this information filled out is once you're in BNI Connect, the place to do that is under the My Account button up in the top right-hand corner. So if we just click on the My Account button, this is going to bring us to the place where we can make all of these changes. All of the information is laid out in various tabs. We have our main profile tab, we have our user profile tab, we have our contact details tab, we have our account settings tab, we have our bio tab, and we have our training history tab. So starting right here at the beginning, first thing you can choose is your title. Obviously Mr., Mrs., Ms., Dr., Miss, or Professor. You can make any changes to your name that might be necessary. Maybe there's a spelling or other error that you see on your name. We can go in and make that change. You can add a suffix in here like a junior or a third or anything else. Display name is just a display field, what your name looks like when it's put together, first name and last name. You can choose your gender. Your company name. You can edit your company name. For example, a short time ago, We went from LLC to an INC. VAT reference number. Now, VAT reference number is not used in the United States. I do know we have a couple of international callers on this webinar as well. The VAT reference number is, again, for your company, VAT stands for Value Added Tax. And again, it's not used here in the United States, but it is used in many other countries. Industry classification and chapter is for your information. This is what was entered at the time that you put your application in. You cannot change this. If you do find an error here, if this doesn't match up with what you do specifically, the recommendation is to give your regional office a call. They would be more than happy to help you choose something that's available in the system and get the right thing in there. And if it's not available, we do review the list of available professions on a quarterly basis and make any changes to this list as necessary. It shows you what chapter you're in, shows you what your status is, whether you're active or whether you're late. Getting into My Business, this is a descriptive form of just a quick synopsis of what your business offers. Now, it's important to fill this out completely, again, because this is what is going to show here on your public profile. So that description actually shows out there to the public. It is crawled by the Google spiders. So as people are searching for your products and services, this helps your visibility out there on the internet. One of the most important things is keywords. Keywords are what drives all of the searches in BNI Connect. So when people are trying to find you to connect to you or trying to find you on the public website, your keywords are a very important component of this. To give you an example where that's found, I'm going to open up the search button within BNI Connect. That will do a search against your keywords as you put them in. So most people, if they're trying to find you, they're not going to know your name. So what they're going to do is to put one or two keywords in order to find you. This search here is a direct search against the things that you put in your keywords here. Similarly, if we go to the public websites and people go to find a member, what they put in for keywords here will define whether they find you based on those keywords. So for example, I have a couple of keywords. I have computer and Windows and Microsoft and hardware. So if I wanted to put in computer, I will find only the people that have computer listed as one of their keywords. Now, I know in the Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts area we have over 50 chapters, and I'm relatively certain that we have more than 8 computer people in our region. So being able to put that keyword in, has a leg up on some of the other people in the area. To give you a comparison there, let's go back a second. Let's take this out and let's just use computer as a profession. And we can see if we use the drop down, we have 69 people that are listed in the various computer trades. So only 8 people in the region have put in computer as a keyword into what they're searching for. And again, that will also affect whether people can find you by that keyword here as opposed to using the drop down for profession. After you've made any changes on this form, you do need to hit this update button. Once you hit this update button, you'll see a little saved thing flash on the bottom of the screen. It only stays there for a couple of seconds, and then it goes away again. Email last invoice. If you have this button on your screen, it is hidden in some regions. This will email you a copy of your last paid invoice, your membership invoice in BNI. Going to the next tab, this is where you can change stuff about your user profile. So you do have the ability to change your username. My username right now is a smiley face. If I wanted to change that, I would just click on the Change button. Type in my new username. Let's say I wanted to change it to a sad face, and click Submit. I'm not going to change my username at this time. Now, memorable question and answer. You can change this as well. This is used if you ever lose or forget your email address. So I'm going to put in a question and answer here, and I'm just going to put something in color blue, and I'm going to click Update. Now I'm going to switch over to another screen where I've set up the BNI Connect login page. And where you'll see this is if you have forgotten your password, you can click on this Lost Password link right here at the bottom. If I click on Lost Password, what I need to do is put my email address in, the one that's attached to my profile. And once I hit Tab, I forgot to put in the rest of it. Once I hit Tab, it will show me my question. And if I type the correct answer in and click Submit, I will get an email that comes to me with my new password. Now I'm not going to go in because that does permanently change your password until you use it, log in, and change your password again. So do know that if you do use the lost password function, you will have to go in and click the Change Password button and type your new password that you'd like to use in. BNI Connect is also available in about 41 or 42 languages. You can choose from any variation of English that you'd like, or Dutch, or Japanese, or Portuguese if you have a native language other than English. If you are in the United States, please do make sure that you're using the English US version. The English base language is actually in the International English format, which is closer to the UK version of English. But if you ever wanted to, you can change your language. If you'd like to see what BNI Connect looks like in other languages, feel free to change your language and click Update. Once you log out and log back in, you will see that the language has changed to whatever language that you've chosen. If you make changes to any of these above, click Update. You'll see the saved bar at the bottom, and it will change. This is where you'd also want to put in your profile image and your company logo. Now to do this, the profile image does need to be 5 megapixels or less. Now that is a little bit different than megabytes. It has to do with whether it can fit on the screen or not. So in order to change your profile, you click on the button to change it. We would then either delete it and then click Attach Image. If you go through the system, you can select a new image. Now you couldn't see what I did, but you do have the ability to then crop your image so that it's the proper size. Once you click Save, it will update your image to whatever it is that you just uploaded. And the same holds true for the company logo. If you click the Attach Image, it will bring the new image up. Now I'm not going to change mine right now, so I'm going to bypass clicking the Save button and just click Back. So the next tab is the Contact Details tab. On the Contact Details tab, we have all of your contact information. So we have your phone number, we have your home phone number, you have a direct phone number, a mobile phone number, pager, voicemail, a toll-free number, a fax number, and your email address. This is your primary communication email address where you would like to receive emails from both the regional office and if you choose to display your email address to people on the inside of BNI Connect. One thing to note is that your email address will never appear out there in the public. It is hidden behind the firewall. Nobody can get that email address by scavenging the public websites. People can send you a message using the send message link that will be forwarded to your email address, but they can't get your email address directly. You can put your website in. Please do make sure that you have your http:// in there. Sometimes the websites won't link properly unless you have that http:// in there. And you can also put in your social networking links, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Let me show you how to find that real quick. For example, on Facebook, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one out of there. The way that you find that is if you go to your Facebook site, and up here on your account settings, it will show you right here what your username is. So I can see that it's facebook.com/TRC Jeremy. So I'm going to go back to BNI Connect. I'm going to click on Facebook. I'm going to click Add. I'm going to do www.facebook.com/TRC Jeremy. On this field, it will add the http:// in there for you. I'm going to click Update, and now that will be saved. Similarly, in LinkedIn, if you don't know where to find that one, I'm just going to go to linkedin.com. And if you go to just click on your name in the upper right-hand corner. On your profile page, it will show you what your public profile address is right here. And again, you can copy the address and paste it right into the profile page. Now, there's a bunch of other services that are available: Orkut, Zing, Ning, Academy, YouTube, iGoogle. All those ones are available to put links in. And each one will have their own place where you will need to find out what your link is to your profile on those services. The next section down deals with address. So you can put two addresses in here, a regular address and a billing address. So maybe you have a different place that you'd like billing information to go to. One concern that a lot of people have, if you have a home office, you may not want your address to appear out there in the public. That's fine if you don't want that to. One suggestion that I have for you is to put something like private or by appointment only and take out the physical address in there. What you'll see is that once I click Update, now I'm going to go back and refresh this page, and what we'll see is the address now says by appointment only, but I can still see the town, the country, phone number, website, mobile number. Now that's important because what I'm going to show you in a little while is you do have the ability to hide information. And if we go over to the Account Settings tab here, I'm going to skip right down to this Show My Contact Details on the BNI public website. Now if I uncheck this and click Update, what's going to happen up on my public profile is that we'll see all of my contact information disappear. For most people, we want our information out there. We want people to get our phone number and our address and various ways to contact us. So if you do have a home office, I recommend that you leave this checked and instead put something like private or by appointment only. Now you do want to leave your real address down here. This one will not be shared, but it is the way in which your regional office will be able to get in touch with you. I'm going to go ahead and put my information back up there. I'm going to click Update and Save. If I click Refresh now, we can see that now all of my contact information is available again. One thing that you will be excited to know about your public profile is with the next version, your logo will also now appear up on this public site. So that's something that we've been anxiously awaiting, and we're hoping in the next couple of weeks or so, and when the new release is out towards the end of the month, we will now see our logos up on our public pages. I'm going to skip over the account settings for a second and go right over to the bio. Now on the bio screen, this is very similar to the bio that your secretary-treasurer might hand out before you do a 10-minute presentation. Years in business, previous types of jobs, name of your spouse and children, and if you have any pets, hobbies and interests, cities of residence, how many years you've been there, what your burning desire is, something no one here knows about me, and your keys to success. You also have an opportunity to put a few of your commercials up here. I'll tell you the benefit of that in just a little bit, but I highly recommend that you go ahead and put a couple of commercials in here. Just take a few minutes and type out what you would normally say in your BNI meeting and fill that information out. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it could save your hide a little bit later in the game. The gains profile. Gains, of course, stands for goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. And then the tops profile. Who's your ideal referral? What is your top product? Your top problem solved? Your favorite BNI story? And your ideal referral partner. Now, each of these has different purposes in the system. On the public site, you'll notice that it shows your tops profile right on your page. The gains profile is used usually before you do a one-to-one, and it also shows on your internal profile. Now, if you'd like to know what your internal profile looks like, all the way at the bottom of the screen, there's a little button that says Profile. If we click on this, I'm right-clicking on it and choosing it to open it in a new tab. This is what you look like to everybody else. So we can see that it has all of the information that I filled out on my profile. All the various contact information, my logo, it shows my bio, any commercials I might have, gains profile, tops profile. It'll show all my connections, any testimonials that I might have, my photo gallery, the groups that I belong to, and my training history. Again, if you've made any changes on this page, be sure to click the Update button, and you'll see the saved icon appear at the bottom. The training history shows you all of the different training events that you've been to. This is not something that you can edit directly. If you do see something missing on this list, please contact your regional office and they will verify your attendance and they can manually add these trainings to your profile. Okay, going back, I skipped over this page before, and this is the Account Settings tab. And what this does is you get to decide who gets to see what about your profile. So this first section here, titled Member to Member, This one controls your internal BNI Connect profile. So this page here is controlled by this section here. So right now I have all of my information showing to everybody. Now let's say that I don't want to share my email address with anybody. If I switch this to none, right now you can see that my email address is being displayed. If I set that to none and click update, now when people see me, my email address, well, it's for myself, so I can see all the information about myself. People would not be able to see my email address. And the same goes for your bio, your connections, your recommendations, your picture gallery, and your contact details. The same goes for BNI public websites. And again, this is this profile here. If you so choose, you can be hidden altogether. If you choose not to be on the public website, if you uncheck this button, people will not be able to search for you. They will not be able to find you at all out on the regional website. Allow people to email me from the public website. That enables the send message button on the public website. Show my contact details, we covered that earlier, but that allows for this section of information here to be displayed. At the bottom, we have the email forwarding. You can choose to have a different email address if you'd like in here. By default, it will send all of the emails that you get within the system to the email address that is on your account, your contact details page. But you can choose what you want to get sent to the external email address. So if somebody sends you a BNI Connect message, that is the in-mail system that allows you to have an internal mail system with all of your connections. If you choose, you can have those emails forwarded to your email address. If you'd like a sent copy of messages you send with this system, also sent to your external email system, you can choose to have that forwarded as well. When people have requested to become a contact with you, if you'd like those forwarded to your external email, you can choose that. If you request somebody to give you a recommendation or a testimonial, if you'd like those forwarded to your external email, you would choose yes. Opt out of optional emails. There are some emails that are sent by the regional office, maybe reminders for events or special promotions that they might be having. If you choose, if they've designated that as an optional email and you choose to opt out of optional emails, you will not receive those messages from the regional office. If you've made any changes on the screen, always be sure to click the update button. Going back to the home page for a few seconds, one of the other reasons that filling out your profile is really important is also for the inside use of the system. Show you guys a couple of things on the inside. Before you go to a one-to-one, one of the things that we've always been taught to do in BNI is that we should be doing a gains exchange. So we should be exchanging information about each other in order to learn a little bit about the other person before we do a one-to-one with them. It greatly helps to decrease the amount of time to get up that credibility curve, and it also opens up topics for conversation that may not arise when you're just talking with somebody. Right now within the system, you can find the gains profile for anybody else in your chapter through a report. So if we go to Reports, Chapter, now if you are a member, you will only have the option for your chapter. If you're a director consultant, you may have the option for other regions within that you're a director for. As a system admin, I do have access to the rest of the world, so I'm just drilling down right now to go to my personal chapter. And the place that you'd find the report to do a gains exchange with somebody is, again, under Reports Chapter. And we're going to go to the Member Details. And under Member Details, there's 4 different reports. And you can look up the bio, the gains, the commercial, and the TOPS profile for any other member of your chapter. So if I was somebody else in my chapter and I was about to do a one-to-one with me, what I would do is go to the Member Details Gains report. All of my chapter members will show up in this list. I'm going to choose myself from the list, and we can now see all of my gains information. Now, before you do a one-to-one, you can also print this out or export it to Excel or copy and paste it into an email and send this to the person that you're doing a one-to-one with. You can also switch between all of the reports by just clicking on the different blue highlighted areas at the top here. So I can switch over to the bio, I can switch over to the TOPS, and I can switch over to commercials. Now, I said before, it's probably a good idea to put a couple of commercials in here. Let me give you a why, a good reason for that. I know this has probably never happened to you, but you find out at the last minute that you can't attend your meeting the next day. May even be the case that you are at a place where you don't have access to email, so that you can't even email a commercial, but you did manage to line yourself up a sub for the next day. Well, if you have a couple of commercials up here, you could actually ask one of your chapter mates to do you a quick favor. Go into BNI Connect and print out one of your pre-typed out commercials and give it to your sub when they show up the next day. That's going to probably come off a lot better than your sub showing up not knowing what they're talking about and possibly flubbing your commercial. So if you have a couple of minutes, type out a commercial, get it into the system, and it can be used to not only share information with your other chapter members, but in the event that you have an emergency, one of your chapter members can do you a favor and print out a commercial to give to your sub. One other little tip and trick that I'd like to share with you guys on this call. A lot of people have a hard time staying in touch with your various chapter members. I know, especially via email, it always, with people leaving the group and new people joining the group, you're never sure if you're actually sending an email out to everybody that needs to get that email. One way that you can do that and be sure that you have everybody that's an active member of your chapter, if you go to Operations Chapter and Create Email, there's an option here for Email My Chapter. If you click on Email My Chapter, it will give you a list of every active chapter member and their email addresses. So at this point, you can just highlight them. If you right-click there and then left-click on Copy, you can then paste that email address or list of email addresses into whatever email program you choose to use, whether it's Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo or AOL Mail. Just paste that. I highly recommend pasting it into the blind carbon copy, the BCC field, and you can be sure that you're communicating with your whole chapter. So I'd like to open it up for any questions that you might have now. If you have any questions, please go ahead and raise your hand, or if you'd like to type any questions into the question box, I'd be happy to answer. So it appears that everything is crystal clear. If there aren't any other questions, I'll show you two more things. If you do have questions in the future, we do have a support site that is set up for BNI Connect where we keep all our documentation, and we also answer any questions that you may have. You can get there two ways. If you click on this question mark icon within BNI Connect, click on the question mark, and it will take you to our BNI Connect support site. On the support site, you can see all the upcoming webinars, all our announcements. Scrolling down, we have a couple of other announcements. We have some forums for suggestions and enhancement requests and some e-guides. And down at the bottom, you'll find trainings. In trainings, this is where we've created a lot of help documents, a lot of help videos. And if we click more, we have some of the webinars that have been pre-recorded and posted up here. We do have a longer list of webinars that have been recorded, but due to the proprietary nature of BNI Connect, we aren't able to put them up into the public domain. But if you'd like to see any of those past webinars, just contact your executive director or regional office and they will be able to get you to the right place. Or you can always click Submit a Request. Send us a request through support and we'll either answer your question or get you in touch with the right person that will be able to do so. And the one last thing, if you could do me a favor and go to facebook.com/BNI Connect Global and give us a like. We do share some information up here as well, so we post webinar reminders, usually at the couple of hours before the webinar is going to start. And we also do various tips and tricks and troubleshooting steps and reports that you may have never heard of. Put all that stuff up there as well. Mary asks, how does one raise their hand on a webinar? There should be a button in the screen. Mary, if you'd like to, I'd be happy to open your microphone and you can ask a question. So just let me know if you'd like me to open your microphone and I'd be happy to answer your question. Jeff says, your screen looks a little different than what I get when I log in. Where do you get the member search? Okay, so if we go back to the home screen here, so this is the home screen. Depending on the number of connections and groups that you're a part of, these tiles may be blank. To get to the search, if you'd like to connect with other members in BNI Connect, you would click on this magnifying glass. This will allow you to search people within BNI. You can put in a name and a keyword, and or a state, and or a city. Once you put that information in, so let's say that I'm going to look for a computer in Rhode Island. This will show me a list of people based on search criteria. I can try to connect with them directly just by clicking on the plus sign, or I can click on them and view what their profile looks like before choosing to connect with them. So hopefully that helps, Jeff. Calvin asks, should my chapter name be showing up on my groups page? So no, the groups are a social networking portion of BNI Connect, and what the groups are, and we have another webinar on social media, but very quickly, if we go to groups, these are discussion groups. So the discussion groups are groups of BNI members that are part of Connect that are talking about various things. They could be talking about inviting, they could be talking about growing their chapter, they could be talking about things within their own business. Whether it's, I know that there's some on social media, there's some for positions within BNI. So I know that there's a group for chapter growth coordinators. So those would be the groups. If you'd like to join a group, you can go into the group section and do a search to find any groups that you'd like to be a part of. So Calvin, I hope that answers your question. Doug asks, why are lists alphabetized by first name? That's just the way that they chose to do it when it came on the system there. If you go into various reports within the system, so if you go into something like the chapter roster report, for example, so I'm just going to go to a report, and let's say that I go to this, just my chapter roster report here. What you'll see is the ability to resort it. So you can I can choose to either sort it by first name or last name, and it'll sort it ascending then descending. And then for just about every report in the system, you also have the ability to export. So you can export this information to Excel, and then you can manipulate the data and format it and sort it until your heart's content. Doug asks, why are dates listed in the European format? So that would be based on your language setting. So if you go to My Account, and then you click on your user profile, make sure you're set to English US. So English US will have the dates in the month, day, year format. If you are using one of the, almost everybody else in the world uses it in day, month, year. So the other English would be using that other date format. So just change your language back to English US, and your dates will then start showing up in the other format. Brad asks, when does the working on go away? Seems to be there despite what we enter. I'm not sure where you mean the working on. So if you want to let me know what that is. So when I check a profile, so does that mean when I check my own profile for a member? So would it be right here, working on? Let's go grab another member real quick. I'm just going to grab somebody from my chapter. So that means that they haven't filled out their little status message. So once you fill out your status message here, that will go away. It'll change from is working on to whatever they chose to put in there. So, for example, in mine, I have it as, check out the new BNI Connect Facebook page. Karen says, is there any way to see who the leadership team is for a certain chapter? At this time, the best way to do that would actually be to use your regional website. So if you'd like to find out who the leadership team is for one of the chapters in your region, every chapter has a website. So if I go back to my BNI RI page and I go to find a chapter, I'm just going to click find, and we'll see all of the chapters in my region. So if I want to, let's say, find out who the leadership team is for the Capital City Connections chapter, I'm going to click on that, and right on this chapter details page, it'll show me who the president is, who the vice president is, the secretary treasurer, and who the director consultant is. If I go right to their chapter website as well, it has their information listed there on that page also. So Karen asks, how do you find that info for your region? Your regional office will be able to tell you what your regional website is. You can also always just Google it. So, for example, I'm just going to go to Google. The best thing to do is just to do BNI. Let's say if you're in New York, and I can find BNI New York here, or BNI Upstate New York. So if I'm looking for somebody in Upstate New York, I can go right here. I can see it's BNI Upstate New York. Doug says that's not the whole leadership team. You are correct. It's only going to show the top 3. So depending on your level of access to just if you're just a member right now, you can only see that information for your current chapter. If you're a director consultant, you will be able to see that information for other chapters in the region using, again, the roster report. Excellent. Do we have any other questions, either on this or on anything else in the system? I'm happy to review any other parts of the system that you might have a question about. So if you liked this webinar, we do hold a number of webinars on a monthly basis. Again, if you go right back to this support page, you'll see all of the webinars as they're coming up. We'll be doing this particular webinar again in a few weeks on Wednesday, July 25th at 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. I happen to be in the Eastern time zone, so that's at 4 o'clock in the Eastern time zone. We have a number of other webinars as well on various topics within the system. So we have chapter webmasters, leadership teams, social media components. This is a great one for going through all the reports and chapter functions. So we show you every single report in the system and what each report does and explain the functionality of it. Sign up for some webinars. Please pass this information along to your chapters. We'd like to get all of the information that's in our heads out into your heads. So thank you everybody for being here, and I look forward to seeing you on another webinar in the future. Have a great day, everybody.